to make sure that it closed sort of with the same thing we began with, the sun, love, and the cell phone.
So you brought a summary of those things together in your story. You summarized it.
I mentioned them. You know, I just built it into
the final epilogue. Got it.
Yes. So then I couldn't upload the picture I wanted on the back cover of the book, but I got a picture up there, and I abridged the description and the mini bio and put that on the back. I have no clue if it's the right dimensions. I mean, I looked at the video. The lady was talking about a Mac. I don't have a Mac. The things she was able to do, I wasn't able to do. I didn't see any of those prompts. I even went on YouTube to try to get some instructions, but the instructions were not what I needed. And I did a video on there. So it may be right. It may not be right. I don't know, but I did it.
No problem. The main thing was that there were the inches or the dimensions. I put them in the email, and if you went to Canva, you can put those dimensions in there, and it'll automatically work. So if you did that, it was no big deal. Mainly, again, that was there just to give you a guideline. But when we get ready to go through putting it all together, you'll see that even that guideline, it'll change based on how many pages we have and what else we need to do with the story. So that would be fine. So you can share your work and then share your cover. You can do it in any order you want, and then we'll be preparing to.
I did not print it out this time.
You have it on your computer?
Yeah, I can maybe get to it. Maybe hold on.
Okay.
Because I finally typed it up. That was part of my 777 was to type it up. So I am going to go to. No, I'm gonna share my screen. Okay. And then I'm going to go to, it says host disabled participant screen sharing.
Let me see why that's doing that. Let me get back on that very quick and see what do we need to do to get that working. It should work. Let me try again.
Okay, and while we're doing that, I'll go see if I can pull it up.
There are options. Yeah, you should be able to share now. It says multiple share.
Okay. So, I got too many of them. How many? I'll go with the first one. Okay, so now I go back to that and I share. Okay, can you see that?
Yes.
All right, so here we go. Precious memories. A feeling of warmth came over Inez as she sat on the rickety porch overlooking the Shenandoah Valley. She looked up to see the last rays of the sun blanketing her brown legs, still slim, but with slightly swollen ankles now. Smiling, she thought of the last time she viewed this daily phenomenon with her late husband. A tingling feeling started in her lower extremities, moved up her body, heating her cheeks and causing her to blush, as she remembered how he lovingly cajoled her to strike a sexy pose as he took a picture with his cell phone. Thinking of their tender embrace afterwards, she wished the same emotional and physical love for her granddaughters. She felt sorry for them since the last good man on earth had passed away, much too young, she believed, even at 78. Just then, her youngest granddaughter, Hannah, opened the screen door and stepped lightly onto the porch. Tall, chocolate brown with light brown eyes, filled with hope, she looked a lot like her grandmother and had the same serene disposition. Grammy, she said, it's getting cold out here. You should come in. You're right, I should. I'm just having a good time thinking about your grandfather. Winding her lithe young body at her grandmother's feet, she lay aside her ever-present cell phone, hoping for a text perhaps, and looked out over the valley, remembering the gray-haired bronze man who refused to eat jello and sharpened her pencils with his pocket knife. She didn't understand how her grandmother got the strength to carry on after his death, staying all alone in their remote cabin home with all its memories. She wondered aloud, apparently, if she would ever find such a perfect man and a perfect love. Sweetie, your grandfather was a good man, but far from perfect, and our lives had their ups and downs, the same as everyone else's, as everyone's does. But Grams, I never saw you and Pop Pop argue, and you both were always so loving to each other. I know, darling, that's because you weren't around or even thought of for the struggling years, the years when two individuals tried to become one. To herself, she thought, what can I tell her about those years that will help her without diminishing her love for her Pop Pop Jerry? Should she tell her about the time she had to put him out because he wouldn't work, watch her father, or help with anything in their home? Instead, he spent his time running around with his friends who just wanted to get high. It was the early 1970s, and make love, not war, and power to the people was the order of the day. All she wanted to do was to take care of their home and their child. She guessed some of it was her fault, as she did not demand his help in doing those things. It was not until he began inviting his friends, who invited their friends, who invited their friends, so that their house became filled with strangers lying about in various levels of functioning due to alcohol and drug use, that she had enough and asked everyone to leave. That's when he stopped coming home for days and weeks at a time. She didn't officially put him out by changing the locks until she was riffed from her good government job, and he refused to do more than one day at the court-ordered job to prevent eviction. But how to tell her granddaughter of the metamorphosis that led to forgiveness, redemption, and renewal of love? She was not totally sure how it happened herself. Of course, she prayed and tried to tell him how she felt without preaching or being harsh. She remembered one letter specifically requesting that they see the new year in together before he went out to be with his friends. She brought a new nightgown and a matching robe in his favorite blue color for him, cooked his favorite meal, and lit candles. Despite all that, he made it clear he would rather be elsewhere, refusing to wear the robe, gobbling down the meal without comment, and asking why it was so dark in the room. He left her at 12:01 a.m., leaving her alone with their baby, unkissed, with tears running down her cheek. There was, of course, happier times even then. She just could not remember any. And not just because her memory was slipping as she aged. It seemed even good memories could bring her longing and hurt at times. Most interestingly, though, she could not remember how they became a couple. They went to the same high school in Washington, D.C., traveling in different circles. She, the future teachers of America, and he, the well-dressed party crowd. They began to hang together when all the kids from their former high school recognized each other at the punch out at Howard University. Somehow that made the transition to a larger environment with so many new freedoms less daunting and frightening. Her mind straying, as it was wont to do these days, she wondered if her son and grandchildren felt the same way when they went off to college, and why she didn't, I think, to ask. What's the matter, Graham? You look so serious all of a sudden. Oh, Hannah, nothing too serious. I have so many jumbled thoughts running around my head these days. That some of them are about the state of this porch. I worry it will fall down one day. Don't worry, darling. It is as solid as the house. I can hear your pop now saying in his slow way, Nez, stop worrying. The guys that have built this porch and the entire house into the side of the mountain. Those creaks and moans are just character. It will all be standing when we are long gone. Long gone, long gone. He was not long gone. It had only been less than a year of contacting insurance companies, filling a last tax form for him, locating and carrying out distribution of his will, making plans and paying for a funeral repast, selecting the burial plot and headstone, etc. Who knew you had to do all that? She wondered why they had not talked about all those things. They talked about everything else when he came home, their family, books they read, classic movies, and television programs they enjoyed, their favorite football team, Commanders, of course, and especially their physical challenges as they aged and how it impacted their daily lives, including their intimate moments. Why did they never think about, let alone talk about, the only thing that is certain in this life, death? There was one other thing they never talked about. What brought him back to her? He only told her that he had changed and would never put her or their son through anything like that again, and he never did. He attributed it to his come to Jesus moment. She envisioned him dressed in a goatskin garment and wrestling with God as Jacob did in the Bible. Not that he became holier than thou or anything. He simply remained a follower of Jesus until his death, helping out anyone who had a need, providing a listening ear for friends and family, and giving money or food to people begging on the streets. He not only gave them money or food, he gave them time, talking to them, looking them in the eye, and asking about their lives. You could see in their responses how much that meant to them. Most of all, he spoke up against injustice wherever he saw it. Consistent acts of caring and love. That's the man their son, grandkids, and great-granddaughter had seen. And now she wondered if sharing some of the other younger men would help her granddaughter, who had broken up with the young man from the Mediterranean she had dated for the last 2 years. She wondered if the breakup was the reason for her granddaughter's new blonde hair color, almost the color of the marigolds in the garden. Touching her granddaughter's short, soft, curly locks, she addressed the elephant on the porch. I know about Mateo. You know, your grandfather and I broke up once. Smiling at the unbelieving look coming her way, she continued, oh, it was long before you were even dreamed about. He did some things that hurt me and your father, and he had to get some space, I think you call it. He was gone about 6 months, and when he returned, he had matured and was ready to be a good husband and father. He became a good provider, a true head of the household, and an all-around handyman. I think he would be okay with me telling you that much if he thought it would help you. He would want to see you happy with someone with your same values and dreams for your lives together, someone who will work with you towards your shared future. I do not know if Mateo will be that someone for you. I know that if you trust God, give each other the space that you need, and not rush it into anything, it will all work out the way it should. Nodding in agreement, Hannah looked lovingly at her grandmother, then glanced wistfully at her cell phone. Gazing over the granddaughter's lovely head, Inez noticed one stray golden beam of sunlight slowly drifting across the porch at just the pace of her late husband's slowed walk. She could not believe it when the errant shimmering light tarried a moment over the cell phone, then seemed to dissipate. She knew then that her last words were the right ones. Contented and relieved, she stood up with some difficulty due to arthritis and stenosis in her back. Taking her granddaughter's proffered arm, she started gingerly toward the screen door. With one last look at the swallowing of the sun by the verdant trees and a smile glowing nearly as bright as the sun had been, she stood a little taller, as if a weight had been taken off her shoulders. She went inside, assured that her home still overflowed with love. So, thank you. So, my experience in writing this was, okay, so those things that I listed of the younger man, that's what my ex-husband did. Those were some of the many things my ex-husband did and why he became an ex-husband. Okay. The idea of the older man is what I wished would have happened with my own. So that's where the creativity really came. And then the names are all family members, two grandmothers, my great uncle, and that was fun to put them in. And the situation with my granddaughter, something that has happened. She broke up with her Italian boyfriend. So that if I were to really publish that, I have to, say, is it okay if I do this? Although I change names and all that kind of stuff. Made her tall, she's not tall, that kind of thing. So that it was a challenging experience, but it was a fun experience. It was interesting. It was cathartic. It was, it was great to bring in family members and actual quotes from family members. So now.
That's really, first of all, congratulations, you guys, give her a hand. We always want to celebrate your success in that. This started with 300 words. It started with 1777 exercise, and then the result is this full story. Now, what do I do with these stories? As I stated, we put these stories together and we create an actual book with it. And so when we do that, it's a step-by-step process that you're going to also go along with me. So I'm going to be sending you a copy of some of the stories that came before you, right? And then you're going to put your story in the beginning. So your story becomes the first story, and then your cover becomes the cover story. And then that becomes your first processed book, okay? What the goal is, you're going to go step by step with me as we do this. So we're going to open up your account. You're going to set it all up. You're going to go through the process. And then now exactly how to go from getting a story completed, putting the story to a person that would do all the, proofreading, editing. Of course, we're not doing a full edit on this. We're just getting it to where we can live with it because we're doing the process, not the full thing. You're not taking it so you could sell it in a store or anything like that. Everybody understand that, right? Because if so, then it might take a little bit longer because then we got to send it out, send it back, send it out, send it back until you say, okay, we're ready to go to publish, right? So you said that in your experience, it was fun. Why do you think it was fun? What was the fun part?
The fun part was, how do I say that? Well, the fun part was thinking about my family and bringing that in. Really, that was the fun part. Because I was really surprised from those first 3 words, how it just blossomed out to all. And as I was going along, there were some things I thought, oh, okay, am I really doing what I'm supposed to do? Does it have a hook? Does it, am I describing people and all that kind of stuff? And some of that I could do. Then there were other parts that I felt that's not quite what's expected, but you know what? It's my story and this is the way I want to tell it. And
there you go. It's your story, you're sticking to it, right?
Yes, and that was fun. That made it fun.
Well, good. This exercise is the book. It is the thing, right? So we talked about having a hook. We talked about description. We talked about all the technical pieces of whatever. But beyond that is the actual story that people will get and people will respond to. So let's get 2 responses from everyone that heard the story for Janice, and then Janice share your cover, okay?
Hi, I wanted to say, I thought it was good that you could say, because I kind of had the same situation with my ex-husband, and I think it's cool that you said, I think that's what you said, that you could say what you wanted your ex-husband to become. I think, did you say that? Yeah. So I thought that was cool because that kind of was fun, probably, just saying like your ideal husband would be like such and such guy. And I like that a lot.
Thank you.
Very cool. Good feedback. And remember, feedback is just feedback. It's no positive, no negative. You take it and you go, oh, okay, cool. We thank you for it. And then you make a decision whether you want to use that or not. Paul?
Yeah, Janice, I love that the line, and I don't think I have all of it, but you said he left at 12:01, leaving her alone with their baby, unkissed. And what was the next part?
Tears running down her cheek.
Yeah, that was like a punch in the gut. You know, like you had all this expectation, and then what? I can't believe he did that. So that was a really powerful sentence. Thank you.
What made that powerful for you, Paul?
It just felt like, she was giving us the background about the dinner, the lights are low. We're preparing for something to really develop in this relationship, and then boom, a punch and left, unkissed. How much, that means you're expecting a kiss and you didn't get that, and you got tears going. Oh, yeah.
Full emotion,
Emotion.
right? So your words, remember I said words are picture containers. So what you did with the words is you created this picture in Paul's mind and in his heart, to the point that he saw the expectation, he saw the waiting to exhale, he saw the desire get just left and never fulfilled, right? Pretty cool stuff. And Dawn mentioned, the fact that she saw that juxtaposition, right? You had this kind of guy, and then you juxtapose him against the guy that you really hoped that he would show up as, right? And then think about all the nuances that has to go in making this guy somebody that the people would either like or hate, to this one that they really fell in love with. Even though in your mind, there are two different people. This is what you had, this is what you wished you had, right? It's not the same. But the reader got the transition. Wow. Because without that backstory, you're like, what a transition that this person went through. And so that's the hero's journey, right? You take them through a place where you get to a pivotal moment. There's this climactic situation that changes, and then you bring them to this new resolve, and then you bring them to a place where you go, whoa, look at this transformation, right? He went from this type of person over here, and his relationship with God was evident, right? Because it was an impact that happened that you shared there. So therefore, if you're talking to Christians, you could talk about the change of heart. You can talk about the impact that God's word has on the individual. You could talk about the deliverance that a person has. If you're talking to people who don't believe in God, agnostic, they don't care about God, you can still talk about the transition of the human soul and the human condition and how it changes. So you see the messages that you have within this story. Okay. And that's what the whole process is all about. It's like taking people on a journey and giving them somewhere to go, or giving them something they could use. And that was going back to the original question: what's the purpose of your book? What's the purpose of your writing? Is it to entertain? Is it to get people to think? Is it to get people to do things differently? Is it to change their lives? You get to make that decision as the author. Okay, very well done. Let's see your finished or your updated cover, and then we'll go with Paul.
All right, let me see how I can get this.
And remember, you got to bring a photo or any image up first, and then you share that screen piece.
That's what I'm trying to do. And I guess I should say, as I'm doing this, the other fun part was doing the adjectives, like not just saying the sun sank, the trees swallowed it,
Yeah.
That kind
it's
of
like
stuff.
giving it some very, creative ways to imagery.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Very poetic in his approach. Poetic.
Okay.
All right.
Can you see that?
Yes.
All right. So here it is. I still like the same cover. So I just added, like I said, the abbreviated description and abbreviated bio. And I probably will still change these a little bit, and this is a picture from 5 years ago, my 70th birthday celebration.
What?
70th. 70th.
Yo, what? No, I'm just playing, because I'm 60, so I'm on my way there. I just want to make sure I gotta have me some balloons and stuff, girl. I'm trying to go in.
So I have another picture where I'm sitting behind a desk, which I think is more, looks authorish. So if I ever figured out how to get that up there, it's one of those things. It's not in the pictures area, so I just couldn't upload it or download it, whichever one it is. But this is what I came up with. So
Yeah, and only suggestion I would have is take it out of caps and put it in regular
you know,
format. Or did you want that? Okay, you
I
did.
tried it and it wouldn't let
It
me.
would. Okay, I have to show you how to do that, and that's just a 10-minute thing that you and I can do after school. You know, at the end of class, and I could walk you through making that happen. So very good, because that was part of the that part was part of the template, but you can get rid of that piece and bring in a new piece and do it. You know, put the writing that you want. But very good.
Oh,
Okay.
But
Still
as
love the
you
images
know-
on the front.
Yes, thank you. I also didn't know in that video, she talked about getting rid of the template from behind it. I couldn't
Yeah,
do
I'm gonna
all.
show you. I'm gonna show you guys. I'm gonna do a quick little
Okay.
demo to show that real quick. I didn't get a chance to do it last week. My timing, I ran out of time, so I want to go back to that first and then show it to you.
Okay.
All right. So thank you so much. That was Janice doing her thing, and Paul, it's your time. You're up. Thank you so much, Janice. Great job.
Thank you.
Thanks, Janice. That was great. Okay, so do you actually want me to pull up the text?
You can if you want to. You don't have to. You can just talk to us. We could, unless we want to
Okay.
read it.
So I expanded the story, did a couple of the 777s, and so I have kind of a vignette about sunrise, and then a sunny day in the countryside, and then the one you guys are familiar with, the sunset. So I'm just going to read through that.
Okay.
So I can catch the sun. Vignettes on the views of the world from one poodle's perspective by Paul Riley. Sunrise. I was a paunchy, pudgy little puppy when I arrived at my forever home. From what I can remember, I had 2 brothers and 3 sisters from a litter of poodles bred in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. We were born on a cold winter's evening. We could hear the wind blow outside as we all tried to keep warm under the fuzzy, curly fur of our mama. We incessantly yearned for the milk from her several times a day. I had to yelp and wiggle and squirm against my siblings for every sip of sustenance from my mother's teats. Every hour was a struggle for existence. It was a strong urge instilled in us by our Creator. Why did He put such a yearning in each of us to survive? Well, I didn't know at this point because I was just a little plump, naive puppy, for gosh sakes. It is very early. The sun is just rising over the farm. 2 of us are pulled out of our padded, warm beds. We are quickly but softly wrapped in another blanket and brought out to our breeder's sport utility vehicle. In contrast to my auburn fur, my sister's fur was light brown and speckled with white spots. We nestled together in the rear of the vehicle as we headed on a long ride to a place called Hagerstown, Maryland. The rumble of the road against the tires, along with the hum and vibration of the engine, put us to sleep rather quickly at the start of our journey. I slept most of that trip. I was dreaming of a field covered in dew-laden grass. I was prancing along, trying to keep my puppy paws under my pink plump belly. I was trying to gallop faster, but I could only trot along at my pudgy puppy pace. I could see fresh green waving leaves as I plodded along. My still developing sense of smell detected pine needles nestled in the dirt below my paws in the woodsy path I traveled along in this hazy, nap-induced world. I plunged my nostrils into the ground between my front paws. What was this? I heard rustling leaves to my left. I hopped up and landed left. Then I heard the rustling to my right. I leaped up and landed right. Something was under my little right toe. What was it? I quickly crossed my left paw over my right paw to catch whatever it was. It moved rapidly again in front of me, so I moved too. But then I tripped over my crossed paws and flipped over, head over paws, and flopped to my right side. My tummy jiggled and caused me to roll over. Now I was on my back, squirming to get up. I wiggled and arched my back. Just then I heard a jingling noise behind me. Metal clanging keys? Then I felt a gust of wind, and suddenly I awoke. Shaking my head to clear out the dream cobwebs from my brain, I found myself on the cargo mat in the back of the breeder's SUV. I looked up to see three humans peering at me. I recognized my breeder. She was a frumpy but energetic and strong woman who always wore jeans and a t-shirt. Today, she had on her pink and purple winter jacket. She smiled and gently grasped me around my chest and under my front legs. This is Sienna. Her coat turned out to be the reddest of the bunch. What do you think? I gazed and met the eyes of a pretty lady with shoulder-length blonde hair, wearing a red sweater, who said, "She is gorgeous. Oh, can we keep her?" She looked expectantly at another human on her right side. He was a handsome gentleman with a shiny bald head and blue eyes. He responded without hesitation, "She is adorable. Yes, of course we can keep her. Let's bring her home." The man reached into his sweatshirt pocket and withdrew an envelope. After opening it, he pulled out several pieces of green paper and handed it to my breeder. She gave me a pat on the head and a kiss on the nose. Then she carried me over and placed me into the hands of the attractive lady who lovingly hugged me and nuzzled her nose into my neck and ears. I liked her voice and how she smelled. I could tell she was an animal admirer and, more importantly, a Sienna lover. I was a little nervous as the humans placed a collar on my neck and led me over to a grassy spot. Gosh, did I have to pee? I recall eating a few sweet treats in their automobile, and then, exhausted from the excitement and all the moving around, I curled up in this woman's lap and slid into slumber once again, dreaming of arriving at my real home. A sunny day in the countryside. Having been with my forever family for a couple of years now, I have come to savor the forest that is just 50 trots away from our home's back door. My human mom, Elizabeth, is grasping the handle on the back sliding glass door. Having just enjoyed a delectable breakfast of chicken, cheese, and some chunky kibbles, I am anxious to burn off these calories with a romp through the forest. The door slides to the left. Warm, humid air wafts over the wood floor and into my furry face. I blink and then spring out the door with a quick woof of approval and a tilted head nod to my lady. She smiles, knowing that I love the outdoors and the adventures they bring. What secrets will the wild woods share with me today? I bound toward the tree line, but stopped as I entered the shade of the woods. Looking around, I see that my favorite neighborhood canine pal, Moose, is not out and about yet. Should I proceed on this outing by myself? Moose is friendly, to be sure, but he is often so cautious and walks so slowly that it impedes my exploratory hikes. I am anxious to track down the various smells and sounds that pop up in this forest. I decided to go solo this time. I placed my swift-moving paws between the smoothed-out rocks and pebbles, fallen leaves, and twigs. Oh, I noticed a good fetching stick there that I must retrieve later. I proceeded down the wooded path. I scurried quickly, hoping to catch a glimpse of a galloping deer or an unsuspecting bushy-tailed squirrel. Wait, what's that? I stiffened up my legs, planting my paws securely in the soft, leaf-laden soil. We stared at each other intently. It has been and will continue to be my assumption that all creatures with whom I come in contact will be of a pleasant and kind nature, and of course wish to add me as one of their friends. However, I am confused by this animal's unusual fur pattern of contrasting black and white. I have never seen one of these before, and why on earth would it fuss, turn, and raise its tail toward me as if I were a foe rather than a friend? Peculiar behavior indeed. I would like to solve this mystery, but I cannot decide whether to move in for a closer look or flee for my life. What is that awful odor? As this creature dashed away under a bush and down the hill, I barked out my command. Wait, where are you going? Who or what are you? My bark fades to a whimper as I feel a spray mist cover my back, heads, ears, and snout. Ugh, what a dreadful smell that is. I must run fast in hopes of loosening this stink's grip on my fur. It's not going away. I roll in the dirt and leaves. I ran some more. I stomped over near a fallen tree whose bark had peeled off and was laying strewn about upon the leaves. This should work, I thought to myself as I wriggled on my back. The bark is harder than the dirt and leaves, therefore it will scrape the odor off my fur, right? I hear my human mom, Elizabeth, calling for me. Her voice streams through the trees like the morning sun. Woo-hoo! Sienna! Come! Come! Oh no, I must return home. But I still smell of this creature. I am not presentable at all at this moment. Still, I must return to the human who loves me so. I make my way up the woodsy path and enter the sunlit pasture. As I trot across the lawn and near the back door, I see my lady's hands raise up to stop me. She has her
Mhm.
other hand over her nose. Oh my, she
Mm.
smells it too. Looks like you have met Mr. Skunk, huh, Sienna? It's bath time for you. Oh no, I object in the most objectionable howl I can muster. She begins to unravel the hose and picks up my bath bucket from beside the shed next to the house. Why must I be punished for another's animal's unfriendliness? And then the last one is the sunset, which you guys have heard before. So I'll stop there.
Well, so same question. This experience for you, Paul, what's going on, what's happening, and then we'll get some feedback.
Yeah, so I had a proofreader who said to get rid of my hyphens and use commas. So I took that advice, and it
Okay.
seemed to make it a little bit more clear as I was reading it. Um, and then I don't know if you guys experience this, but as an author, I never feel like my story's done, that it's really complete. I'm always like, maybe I should add something here or do something there or
Mhm.
something. So I kind of struggled with that.
Yeah. All right. The experience in a word, how was it for you? What was the experience like?
I'd say it was pretty exhilarating. I loved the prompts you gave us, which kind of just started to flow and kind of
Hmm.
let our creativity kind of run.
Kind of run, right?
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love how you use poetic prose. You like pink plump belly, uh, pudgy puppy place, um, slid into summer, leaf laden soil,
Hmm.
uh, voice through the trees like the morning sun. That gave a very vivid thing.
Thank
So,
you.
and then you use purple and pink a lot. So I was curious because how does that play into your story?
Purple and pink. I don't know. It just seems like those tend to be effeminate colors and no judgment. Just
Right,
um,
right. What you
and and
felt?
Sienna is a female, and a lot
Okay,
of her meaningful people are females in her life. So
got it. No problem. There's no judgment. We don't judge here. So I just was curious because I heard it a couple of times since you started the story. And
yeah.
so similar to what Janice said, you took three words and look what it has become, right? Three words doing the 777, and you really taking to heart that you can write this story, write your story, which is the name of this course. And it comes out like this. So let's see your book cover. And then Don, it's your turn.
Is that showing?
Oh yeah. Okay. Things have changed for sure. So somebody's been playing around in Canva a little bit or design, right?
Indeed, and I had the help of my daughter too, so she helped me a lot.
Yeah, we heard that. You had the assistant author. All right. So you did good and you have your, just as Janice did, you have your description here, right? It's going to get people excited or synopsis, really bring them into the story. So tell us about your experience with this. Catch the sun.
Yeah, so this was kind of fun. You kind of battle between using too many words and too few words. Like you want the description to kind of give the audience a taste of what's in this book
Hmm.
without giving too much away or
away.
being too
Mhm.
verbose. Yeah.
But you got to bring them in, because if they don't see that, they were like, I don't know what this is about. But most people, they go in the book, they look at the front, and then they turn it right to the back, and they go right to the back of the story to see if it's a happy ending or not, and some other different things. But again, what sells books the most is the cover. So, and we understand that you didn't get a cover designer to do it. This is you messing around in there, and that's okay, because your book is going to be your book. And then later on, you can take it and have a publisher do more with it and that type of thing. So excellent, excellent. Okay, so let's hear two people feedback, please. And if it can be
I-
two different people,
A
but go ahead,
question
Don.
for Paul. Are your eyes blue?
They are, yes.
Okay, because you were talking about a bald guy with blue eyes. I was like, I wonder if his eyes are blue.
And I took I
Yes.
took the license of calling myself handsome, but hey, I'm the author, so why not?
To
Right?
somebody, the world, everybody has a somebody. Everybody got a person. We just don't always find them, but they're out there. That cool question. So, feedback for Paul.
I thought I heard when Sienna,
Yes.
was in the car, Sienna was dreaming.
Yes.
And I love that, going from the reality of what was going on and the dream. I don't think you often hear about animals dreaming. So I thought that was very creative. And of course, the use of the first person, and frankly, I was disappointed that you didn't read The Chasing of the Sun again, because I love that.
And there may be a way
Well, you'll
you
have to
can
buy the book
tie.
then, Janice. No, I'm just teasing.
Well, you could also tie that chasing of the sun into the next day, right? Because you end with, oh my God, you need a bath, right? And so now that I've had my bath and everything's cool, and she can even talk about like what that was, that experience, right? Because I'm sure you didn't get no just soap and water and everything's cool, right? Because there's a skunk. So there has to be some
Right.
extra stuff. It's like, what the heck is this white stuff that they're using? Milk? I thought we were supposed to only drink milk. It's like they're bathing me with milk. What in the world's going on? Right.
Yeah, I think the
So
remedy is tomato juice,
tomato
isn't it?
tomato juice. Okay. Again, a dog would probably be like, yo, I'm supposed to lap this up. What's going on? There'd be some confusion in the room, I think. So,
Well,
tomato
thank you
juice.
for the feedback. And
Yeah.
Dwayne, you wanted me to post that question to the group.
Yes, to the group.
When we submit these stories to this book being put together, do we still retain the rights of them in case we want to spin a story of our own using the same text?
Yep, 100%. So I wanted to make sure everybody understood, because you're in a classroom setting, this is public domain, but at the same time, you retain all rights to whatever you produce. CSM has no, they do not control anything. And this is just a part of what we call, the experience. And so it goes nowhere. They don't sell it online. They don't do anything. We have to use a system to get it to a reality. So of course we put it in through that system. We don't make any money on it. In order to print it, it does cost money. So we got to put a certain amount of what it comes to. I limit the pages to 200 pages to keep everything pretty much the same. So whatever stories I have from previous people go in the book, and then your stories goes in the front. So everybody here is going to have your whole stories going in the front. I'm going to share with you that you can actually create the book yourself, so you can walk through that process with your own story. And what you'll find also is that once you have it, you might want to just have a copy for your bookshelf, just to say, hey, I got a copy. But the goal is that you move forward from here. Whether you move forward with that story or whatever story you came into class and you said you wanted to take, you wanted to make, that's the story you should move forward with. But yes, you don't lose any kind of rights. CSM has no control over that whatsoever. And even Amazon, you can decide to, if you want, you can say, hey, Dwayne, take my story down. And then we just take it out the book. because it's used for educational purposes only. But you are the author. So once that copyright, and I'll show you that copyright statement, once it goes on this work, that's your work. That's like any book out there in the world. You can't just take their stuff and start using it. It's against the law. Okay? All right, good. All right, Dawn, you're up. And then Janet, you'll be next.
Well, first I want to say, I'm sorry I missed class last week. I was sick. But I sent you an email and you got it later. So I just want to tell everybody I'm sorry about that.
No problem.
So I actually, Mr. Ross, I sent you a text message. You didn't have time to read it, but I've been really busy at work. When I'm doing a women's conference, and I shipped everything out finally today. So my mind's been preoccupied with that. But going back to my story, I've been having a brain block with it. So
no problem.
basically I realized that when you gave us the 777 in the first place, because today I had time to reflect and really think about it. And I realized that I don't feel a flow with that subject, and I can't pick one thing out of that, what I started writing. And then I just started writing a bunch. I don't know if you can see that. Is that blurry?
Sorry,
It
because you got the background off. You would have to turn the background off,
Oh,
and then
I
we'll
say
be able to
because
see it.
no, unblur my background. Okay,
Yeah, and
so
now you
yeah,
can-
I wrote like a bunch of notes, and this equals that and stuff. So it gave me a better idea of what I can concentrate on. So now I feel like it's just flowing out of my brain now.
Okay, that's
I feel
fine.
that I am ready just to write it all. Like it's flowing like crazy. But I did do a book cover from the previous one. I can share that if you'd like.
Share what you have. Here's again, these exercises are not mandated. They're not mandatory for the class. They're so that you know that you have learned something from day 1 to day 9 or whatever day, I forget how many days we have in here. I think it's 2, 4, 6. I think we have 8 total, maybe, right?
No.
I don't know.
But I did listen to the video that you sent from the last
5,
class.
I think.
I did listen to that on the way home from my hour-and-a-half drive home, and then at the grocery store. So I enjoyed that. So let me share my screen. I do have it up. How do I share? Oh, it's the bottom. Never mind. There we go. Where are you at? I had you somewhere.
And I did see your message. I was in my auditions and I came straight here, so I didn't, you know,
okay.
I understand you were stressed out at work and the convention, etc. So it's all good.
It's been a little crazy. And I'm the only one there in my division. Okay, so this is what I finalized it as.
Could you make it a little larger down at the bottom? You could
I gotta move this thing out
yeah.
the way. Oops. Add as a new page.
Okay.
All right. Is it full screen? Is that better?
That says the light to success.
That's not it.
All right. So you just when you X'd out, it took the front part off. So just go back to the top. Like first stop sharing.
Where am I at? Stop.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stop sharing.
Sorry.
No. I meant okay. So now go to the
Share.
well, you got to put it back to where your original. Did you do that already?
No.
Because you're okay. So you got to go up and it's a little undo. Just undo.
Exit. I want to exit full screen first, and then okay.
Go up to the top. You'll see the little sign thing. It looks like an arrow going backwards. Just undo. So whatever you did had got rid of what you created.
Ow! Here it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now share that.
How do I get back to you? I don't know how to get back to you.
So now go to share. And on the right hand
I'm
side,
trying to find you and
on the right hand side, just hit the little box that has a list. It's going to open up all your windows. So just hit Windows. What's on the right-hand side? And it'll
Um,
share all the windows, and then look for the one that has Canva and just open it.
That's already open.
No, it's open on your screen, but not on ours. So when you share, go ahead and share screen.
I don't know how to.
It's the green, go down to the bottom to the green button.
Okay. All right.
And then,
I've got
yeah.
back there.
And now you see that? You see it on the right-hand side?
I'm in the wrong. I'm sorry. I'm a little not
okay.
very good at this.
No problem.
Where?
Okay, follow
I don't
my
know how to
voice
find
real
you
quick.
back.
That's what I'm trying to help you. Okay,
Wait.
so what it is right now you are sharing a screen,
found
but
you.
not a screen, right?
Okay. So let me go back to here. Sorry, guys.
It's okay.
I'm not a genius at this. Okay. I think I got it. Now,
Yep.
now I just make it bigger.
And so you can go up to the top if you want to show. There you go.
Can you see it?
The social dilemma.
Yeah,
And
that's what
it's
it was.
Cell phone with a X. Now there are some words right there.
Yeah,
Are those
that's
on
not supposed
purpose,
to
or
be
you didn't
there.
know how to get rid of them? No
Yeah.
problem. You can click on them. Click on those little words. You
That went back to.
you went back again. So just
Yeah.
go do leave it like that and just hit the. There you go. Now click out in the white space off to the side somewhere.
White.
And now,
Okay.
no, not in this, like off to the side, because right now you having it do stuff. You gotta like click there. Okay, now go over.
It keeps doing that.
Yeah, because it's in the middle of a command.
Okay.
And so don't worry about it. We could tell what's happening there. All right. So
Yeah, I'm gonna change it anyways, but that's.
You could still talk about your cover. I like that you chose this template. It looks good.
I was thinking about, my kids and the social dilemma, how they just love the cell phone, and it's huge because it's like a big deal to them, and that's why I put the big picture. And then to me, I'm like, no. So I put the red, like stop using this.
You put that on top of it?
Yeah.
Okay,
No,
cool.
it was that light bulb.
No. I mean, you put the X over top of you layered it over top of
Yeah.
the cell phone. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then it was just the light bulb by itself.
Right.
And then I got the cell phone and then the circle.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you layered those on top and used the outline of the. I think it's a brilliant cover. I think it's a brilliant cover idea.
Thank you.
Social dilemma. Okay. So I mean, you guys, what feedback do you have, Paul? Anyone but Dawn?
Yeah, I was just going to say that it's eye-catching because you kind of have the idea bulb there, but then the X out of it, and it's like, that's intriguing. It would make me want to pick up the book. So awesome.
Yep. I would also consider doing it two or three different ways. Do it without words and put the word social dilemma, like just like
Lightly.
lightly in the deal. You know what I mean?
Like
I
not
would try
highlighted,
that.
but just.
I would, yeah, I would also like, take the words off, period, and just put the social dilemma inside the book.
Okay.
And see how people, because like Paul just said, it's an intriguing. I would pick that book up regardless if it had any words.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I personally would. I think there's probably other people like me. I would also make your name bigger, just a little larger on the bottom.
Okay.
But let me talk about that. You do not need to put by Dawn or author Dawn or anything like that. That is what separates book covers too. When people see by, they know that, oh, somebody did the cute little by. But what new people do, they don't put that. They just put, I'm such and such, and that's my name. And so it's all good, right? So you could also remove your name and put the social dilemma down there, and then put your name underneath it.
Oh, okay.
or
Oh,
on the
gotcha.
back too. So you got a couple choices, but those are 3 things that I would probably suggest you try. And then you put it out there for a beta test. Let people try it with all 3 things done and see which one gets you the best feedback. And then you go from there.
Great.
You always test the market with the people that you're writing to, not yourself, because you're going to
Right.
suck and get yourself. You're going to think it should be this and that. And the people will speak and then you'll go, okay, cool.
Nice.
And
Thank
then,
you.
so, all right.
I
So good
appreciate
job.
it.
And so as far as your story, just go ahead and get your story done. Do your best to get it to me by tomorrow,
Okay. Yeah,
because
definitely.
I really want to have it for Thursday night's class. Right.
Definitely. Yep.
And so, because I got to do some work behind the scenes and then present this to you guys as a project,
Gotcha.
pretty done project. All right,
Definitely.
cool.
Thanks.
Any feedback for Dawn in reference to her social dilemma cover?
Very nice.
I like the fact that it has like all
Thanks.
of the stuff in the background. And that's kind of like when you're on social media, you're getting bombarded with like all of this stuff. It's kind of like your mind is kind of cluttered or just, kind of can be kind of overwhelming. So I think that cover displays that.
Pulling your attention to all this stuff.
Thanks.
Money and this, that, yeah. Keys, people, groups, all kind of stuff in there. Mail, you got mail. Right. And Dawn, you were saying that the story you're writing is your story, right? This is the story that you really have been flowing to you.
The new one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's
you
about
want me
the
to-
cell phone or something different.
It's different.
You want to
can- I
share?
can- Yeah, I mean, I can.
Yeah, let's go. Let's hear it.
So
I know you haven't done as much on that as you did on the other, but that's fine.
Yeah.
Just let's hear what you got.
So let me get to that. I started writing it. So I wrote the first couple sentences. So I titled it Finding Purpose. So my first sentences go, imagine not wanting to exist, but being too scared to take your own life. Praying to God every night.
Wait. That's a hot sentence. Right off the bat. Like imagine, I mean, say that again.
Hold on, let me get there. Imagine not wanting to exist, but being too scared to take your own life.
Remember we talked about first sentences and how it sets tones and things of that nature. Just off that, Ashley, or anyone, what do you get from that first sentence right there? Anybody?
I cannot get off this other thing.
It definitely makes you want to keep reading or keep listening to the story to kind of figure out what happens, and then it kind of tugs on your heartstrings because you're like, what is this person going through that they even considered like suicide,
Like their life is over. Yeah. That's the thing that came to me too. So anyway, thank you. Just wanted to hear from someone just on that one
I thought it was
sentence alone.
bad. I was like, what do you mean?
No, not
I have
bad.
another sentence after it. It
No, go
says-
ahead. So you got other
Yeah,
stuff.
just one more. It says, praying to God every night that he come take you away from all this pain, a scared, lonely girl who just wanted to feel loved and be good enough. And it basically comes down to when I tried to kill myself when I was younger, and it was probably about 6 months after that I found out I was pregnant with my daughter Summer. And I feel like that saved my life, and she was a blessing and made me, she just changed me for the good and gave me purpose. So the name of it is called Finding Purpose. So she gave me purpose in life. I had to be a mom, and I had to be better and I had to get better, and then I had a middle child that died, and her name was Lily. And then after Lily died, I had Stella, and Stella also gave me more purpose, and so I feel like that. So that's kind of where that's going.
That's a lot.
Yes.
just as
There's a
Ashley
whole lot
shared a
more, but
lot.
I'll write another book about it.
No. Again, you know, I said this a couple times. By far, I've been doing this since 2016. You guys, I've been doing this since 2016. I can honestly say in this course, some of your stories are so like amazing stories that's going to change people's lives if you choose to really put them out there. There are people in despair right now. Whatever just happened in Hawaii. I mean, how do you burn up in an island that's surrounded by water, right? So it's freaking amazing what's going on in the world. You know, people are dying of heat stroke because it's over 100 something degrees and they don't have air conditioning money. So they stayed in their house with a fan and messed around and died because it was too hot in some parts of this nation. We have a president that just got indicted again, fourth time, 21 40 something indictment. I mean, 40 is crazy, right? We're living in a world pandemic that turned into what they call they changed it from they downgraded from pandemic to something else epidemic. And now they said that hospitals are being again being overrun by all these people that are sick, right? And you got, so there's a lot of despair in the world. And Ashley and you, Dawn, have shared some stories that would take the heart out of some people. And you've survived it. And I'm not to demean any other body's story, but I'm just saying that, you know, losing, I don't know anything, you know, I lost my mom, right? I was 8. Watching my mom just sit there and not breathe. And I didn't know like what to do. And they didn't have taught us 911 at that time. So I'm, you know, I run to go get my uncle who lives in an apartment next to me in the Bronx, right? So I leave my little brother playing at my mom's feet dead. And I used to think that was a hard story until I met people like yourself, Ashley and Dawn, who lost children. And, you know, I'm blessed. I have these 4 children with new grandchildren being born and a daughter who I just left my daughter. She auditioned tonight and she brought my granddaughter with her. And we had time earlier today because I was in town, but it's just phenomenal of the pain, but the purpose that's been given on your life to push past the pain to the purpose to give people hope. And
That's
I've
why
heard that
I
from
have
the beginning.
my tattoo says hope. I feel like, and I know some people think they make a joke out of me, like my kids think it's like I'm crazy or whatever, but I'm like, I feel like I've been through so much and that I have such a big heart that if I don't use it to help other people, then I went through it for nothing, you
Yeah.
know, and you know, God does that. He puts you through these, you know, trials and tribulations because he wants you to help others. And I have goosebumps talking about it, but yeah, I just feel like I have to do something with it. I have
Yeah.
purpose in this life.
Well,
I mean, there's a
there are a
reason I'm
few
still alive.
there are a few things happening. So I'll share this with you both, everybody in this class. I just been asked to come to Albany, New York to talk about surviving as a foster care kid and what we went through, me and my brother, with abuse from a foster care parent. And it's putting me back on the stage again, which means that there are going to be opportunities where I can bring you along, where I can ask you to be one of my guest speakers and ask you to come and share your story. And because I did write your story, I'm actually playing with the idea of speak your story. Like, write your story, now let's go speak your story and tell people. And get on a stage and start like expanding that whole idea. And what better way to do that than as an author who speaks about these things? So again, I just took that segue because I think it was important. It was it's purposeful. I hope that resonates with you both in that sense. and Kayla, losing a loved one as well. Again, I don't think I've had that much happening inside one group of people since I've been doing this. That I know I haven't. I know I haven't. I've had other stories, but not like this. So, thanks for giving me a moment to share that. All right, thank you, Dawn, and thank you for doing a really good cover as well. It's really intriguing. I think people will pick it up, and I think it was in the chat, right, that I'll read that book. I agree. Ashley's a brilliant, very nice. I would pick this book up. Yeah, real cool stuff. All right, Ashley, you are on.
Sorry, I've been popping in and out. I'm playing
That's
my
all
role.
right. You taking care of what
Okay.
you got to take care. Got the baby doing his thing. We saw him.
Okay.
We saw him
So,
hanging out, trying to take over the class.
so my story, I did not meet the word minimum. And
Okay.
I felt like if I were to keep adding, it would take away from it. Because I feel like I just would have been adding just to
Just
add
to
words
add.
and not necessarily, yeah.
No problem. That's a good lesson right there, piece. Let me stop in and pause. Yeah, you don't have to do that. People think that they have to, I got to put more words. If you said what you need to say and it does what you needed to do, rest. You can always come up with a new series. So, all right, Ashley.
So my story, which one is it? I think it's this one. Do you guys see the story, or what do you see?
Yeah, we see the story. And again,
go.
you don't have to show the story, but it makes it easier for the see when you read it and all that.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure you didn't see anything else on the screen. Okay. So my
party
title
last
is,
night. Okay, we got you.
title is A Mother's Journey to Healing. As I lay on the beach, I could feel the wind brushing against my skin. The sun was setting, and I noticed that the air was starting to cool. I could hear children laughing and playing somewhere off in the distance. My sweet son was playing in the sand near my feet. My heart began to melt as he looked up at me with a huge smile on his face. His eyes sparkled, and I just had to capture this moment by taking a picture using my cell phone. I could not help but think of everything that we have been through over the years, everything that we survived. Oh, how I love this. Oh, how I just love this little boy. His very smile has the ability to touch every area of my heart, even the broken and bruised areas. His smile, his eyes, and his sheer determination to keep going gives me the will to do the same. But if I'm truly honest, I have no idea where we will go from here. I have no idea what is next for us on this journey called life. And as a mother, it is not easy being in this position, to be totally responsible for another human, one that you birthed, and not know what is next. It is a very scary feeling. I silently turned my head away as I wiped away a tear that had started to roll down my cheek as my son continued to play in the sand. For the past 3 years, it has been just us and Nana. For you see, his father, my husband, died unexpectedly, leaving me behind to pick up the pieces of our life. The morning of his unexpected death, we laughed as I rushed out of the door to leave for work. And a few hours later, I found him dead in our bedroom. His death, so unexpected, appeared like a thief in the night. There were no warnings, there were no hints. Over the years, I have gotten better at hiding my tears and my fears, only allowing Colin to see the happy and cheerful mama, the mama that has it all together. But the truth is, I do not have it all together. A few months ago, I walked away from my job as a family nurse practitioner. I walked away from a job that I once prayed to have, a job that I once loved, because the weight of the world started crashing down on me and I could no longer breathe. I was suffocating and I needed to free myself so that Colin and I may live. As I continued to be deep in thought, I could vaguely hear the sound of the water crashing along the beach. I could barely hear the birds chirping, and the sound of the children playing is now ever so faint. I am brought back to reality as I hear the sound of my son calling out to me. He is nonverbal, but he always knows how to get my attention. I stare down at his face, so full of life and wonder. I hear his little giggle, and I cannot help but to do the same. When I look at him, it is so hard not to reflect over the past 4 years. how he was ripped out of my stomach 4 months early during an emergency C-section. How when I first saw him being wheeled into my hospital room in a portable incubator, my first thought was that my baby was going to die. Or how I watched him fight for his life for 6 months while being in the NICU. I thought about all the times I had to ask for permission to hold my baby. I thought about all the time where the doctors told me that it was likely that Colin would be blind, deaf, and have no real quality of life. I thought about all the surgery and procedures Colin had to endure over the years. I thought about how a 6-month NICU stay put real pressure on my marriage. I thought about how I saw the stress eat away at my husband. I thought about how hard it was to return to work while Colin was still in the NICU. It was so hard to balance taking care of my own patients, pumping every few hours to keep up my milk supply while worrying about my baby being in the NICU. I thought about how hard it was to provide care for newborn patients while my own son was fighting to live. I thought about what life would be had my eldest son lived. Would he and Colin be close? Would they look alike? I thought about the time period where I was depressed and was surrounded by darkness. But I also thought about all the good that had occurred over the past few years. I thought about how Colin wakes up daily and continues to prove his doctors wrong. I thought about how his very smile can light up an entire room. I thought about how by the age of 4, he already knew his colors and shapes. He knew his letters and ABCs. I thought about how he likes to take everything apart just to see how it works. I thought about how he reminds me so much of his father. As I reached over to pull Colin into my arms, my heart became so full. And I knew at that moment that despite not knowing what is next for us, that as long as I have my Colin, we will be just fine. Hasn't our track record proved this to be true? As night continued to fall and the sky darkened, it was time to pack up and head home. As I strapped Colin into his car seat, I made a silent promise to both him and to myself that we would not only live, but we would thrive. To have endured everything that I have endured, there has to be a greater purpose to our lives. And I will not stop searching for it or reaching for it until I have found it. And during this process, I am sure that peace and joy and healing will find me. Maybe one day I will wake up and see so clearly how the past major events in my life and some of the small have been woven to create such a beautiful story that is my life. That's the story.
Yes. So what was it about this process that stood out the best for you? Being that you're already a published author, you took this class. I mean, what's happening now compared to when you started?
So the only thing I published was that like mahogany story. So I feel like this class has made it real that I am a writer versus just, frolicking around.
Okay.
And then my first book that I'm working on, it's like a children's book, so it's different. But to actually try to put my thoughts out and like share them, I don't know, it just makes it more real.
Awesome. All right. Cool. And if you had to like sum it up in a couple of words, how has the experience been for you?
It has been challenging, rewarding, exciting, and revealing.
Oh, okay. Tell me more.
I don't know. It just made me kind of have to dig deep into, put words to paper. What do you say though? Words are a container of your life. What do you say? I don't know.
Yeah, words are picture containers.
Which picture
And they are
containers?
containers of life too. So I mean, I think I would have to say that one too. I might have to say words are and then just put stuff that they are, right? Yeah.
So I was trying my best to be like more descriptive, and maybe change like words that I would normally use to try to be like just better describe the like what I'm trying to convey.
Yeah, and I had a question I thought about was that what was your thinking around using that on so many sentences?
Using thought.
I thought about.
So at first I was like,
about,
that's too much. And then I was like, but this is truly like sometimes when I'm sitting here thinking, so it's not wrong. But when I first was reading, I was like, you're not supposed to use the same sentence like repeatedly and start the same sentences. Like I know that, but I didn't care.
Now you're going to sound like Janice because she said what she said earlier.
I said what I said.
That's all cool, but this is my book. And this is what I'm going to say. So, and that's what I say. I'd say go for it if that's what you, because what I heard was a very distinct thought. I thought about such and such, such and such. I thought about so-and-so, such and such. I thought about You know, I thought about, it's like, I could have been like just going along with it, but I thought about what's life going to be? You know, I thought about how would he, you know, show up in the world? I thought about all, you know, how is this gonna make sense that I've been through all this so much, right? So, you know, it was interesting to me, and I'd like to hear from everyone else. When you heard that, what was your thoughts? Repetition. Wait, I can't see that. I gotta open the chat real quick.
Well, I
Made it
think
more powerful.
repetition
Okay.
made it more powerful, and it's emphasis. You know, when you repeat something, it emphasizes and makes it more important. And
Mhm.
they, you know what I thought about as you were reading this was how powerful the first person is. I tend not to write in the first person. Um, you know, being a social worker and writing reports, and you always have to say the social worker or this worker.
This person did this. Yeah.
Right. I just tend not to do it, but now it's something I'm really going to try because this is it makes it more personal, it makes it more real, you know, to people, and it really, really draws you in, I think. So that's what I thought.
Outstanding. Kayla, could you tell us what you was thinking? I want to capture it.
Hold on. I wrote it in the chat, but the more she said I thought about, it helped me focus on every individual instance and what it
Every
might
thought.
mean. So it helped simplify it for me.
That's awesome. Yeah. Very, very powerful. I think it's a real cool voice. And it made me think about the fact that you thought, you didn't just like, it wasn't a glancing moment of thought. It was a real like, man, you know, it was a deep thought. It wasn't just a flighting thought. It was a real deep sinking in thought. All right, you want to share your cover?
Yes, but
All right.
this is just something quickly I threw together. I didn't really
Okay,
have
show us what you done
time.
threw together. Watch it be epic, y'all.
Okay.
This she done
It's
threw
not, I
together.
promise. So this would be the idea. So I got to stop sharing this. To hold on.
Yeah, and then bring the other one in, and then I got a lot more gray right here today than I had yesterday. That's
Yeah, I was
interesting.
gonna say,
It look
I was gonna
like,
mention that you said that line, if I'm honest, I don't know where we'll go from here. I think that's a great hook. I think heck, half the population can relate to that. So
yeah, if
I
I'm
like it.
honest, I agree, Paul. Ashley, what do you think about that thought that Paul just shared?
I mean, I agree. I don't feel like half the people know what they're doing. And I
No.
was a family, primary care provider for 4.5 years. So I know people don't know what they're doing. So
That I know they don't. That's funny.
so.
Listen, I don't know what they know. I know they don't know what the heck they do.
They'll tell you.
That's so
As
funny.
soon as that door shut, their whole
No, I be
lives
trying to
fill
tell
out,
my
so.
kids, you know, they be like, Dad, such and such. So I said, listen, I don't know. Hey, ain't no manual with this thing, man. I
I'm
try to
winging it.
make the right decision, but some of them didn't quite work out. I love it. We still see the beautiful again. That's just wonderful, and I love that you shows that photo for the back. You know.
So I figured I was trying to convey like a mother's journey to healing. So I feel like this picture, exhibits joy and peace and healing. So
Yeah, it tells a real cool story. It's very fresh too. You know, you got a lot of cool colors, a lot of soft colors in the background, and you have a low depth of field, which allowed the background to be blurred. So it makes people focus on you. So that's a photography thing. Real cool picture, photo. And so yeah. Feedback,
I
anyone?
need to clean it up, I know, but I just try to throw something in there. So I did not have anything.
All right, well, you clean it up real nice. Keep the picture that size. I think that's a good size picture. And it really kind of goes again with the front, even though that's not you. I think people will think that's you.
Okay.
They were like, oh, look at her. Charles. You be like, that's not me. But here's
Well,
the real
actually,
life.
I have a photo like this of Colin and I in New York when I'm like throwing him in the air, but he's like literally like in the air.
In
You
the
can see
air?
like the Statue of Liberty like behind us and stuff. So maybe I'll switch it
Oh,
out.
you might have to switch it up. I think that might work with the Statue of Liberty too. Freedom, healing. Yeah, speaking magic. All right. Any other comments, everyone? All right, Ashley, thank you so much. And Kayla, I guess you'll be
Thank
next
you.
because I don't see Janet.
So I'm next.
Yeah. Anybody, am I missing? I see only 6 people.
Oh, Janet.
Kayla,
left.
Ashley. Yeah, I think she left. Okay. So it's on you.
Okay.
The
hold on.
floor is your floor.
I'm also gonna pull it up so it's easier to keep track of.
No problemo.
You can see it? Yep, there it is.
Yes, it's a little small. You might want to enlarge it, just increase it just a little bit. Yeah, right there. That's good.
Okay.
Is that okay for everyone now? And I'm trying to be mindful of visual impairments and things like that. And that's why I did turn on the closed caption. I went to a disability awareness class today, and I had no idea how not aware. And I used to, I mean, I used to be a director of vocational center with people with disabilities. And I was like, why didn't I think of this myself? Turn on the closed caption. So
Okay. This might be a bit long. But I named mine Setting Light for a couple reasons. Can I share why?
yes,
Okay.
the floor is yours.
Okay, so I named it Setting Light because there's a double meaning to it in that setting light can be like setting fire to something, like reigniting the spark. So I imagine that it kind of applied to people who are feeling like, down, like they've lost their own light. So it's kind of like bringing them back up. But then also, if you think of people as lights and how they can set like a sunset, then it's like, they fall as often as they rise. So that was my thought behind that.
I like that. Fall as often as they rise. I never think about the fact that, yeah, that's pretty cool.
Okay, so starting off, the burning crimson of the setting sun had once been a piece for me. It had been the same shade of red as that chair you bought, and similarly, it had been something I indulged in every day. I used to keep everything the same since the day you left, from the stage of our home to my daily routine. I'd kept the curtains drawn back and the lights dimmed. After all, you liked the ambience. And I'd prepare your favorite meal, although I'd be the only one to eat it. The forgotten sweetness of a warm peach cobbler once replaced with the taste of ash. I'd sit in that plush red chair with an iced coffee in hand, watching the sun slowly creep beyond the horizon. As the light gleaming through clear windows caused wicked shadows to dance across my skin, I thought my memories were slowly stained in that familiar vibrant shade. Back then, the soft shell of a home became a prison of what was bygone, of what was fleeting. Because at that time, I kept everything still. I had kept everything in place as frozen as you'd left them. I'd left no trace of dust or wear past its prime, and such was especially true for that old phone of mine. It once sat on the coffee table off to the side, sleek and smooth like the hands I used to hold. The battery had died long ago, but I'd kept it in that place as though awaiting a call that would never come. I used to stare at my reflection mirrored in its blackened screen, and it felt like I looked as dead as it was. Back then, my eyes were long since hollow. You used to call it every sunset as you hopped on the train heading home. You would tell me about your day and your mother. We thought she was making progress when she was discharged from the hospital, but perhaps losing you had been too much to bear. Like me, maybe she heard the echoes of your laughter or saw the remnants of your smile. Like me, perhaps the crushing weight of the news made this life too hard to live as she was, and her heart broke like a shattered clock. I knew it then that grief worked in funny ways. It could change you and everything you knew, providing a context too haunting to face. When I heard about what happened to you on the train that day, I remember not believing it. I remembered laughing and brushing it off because I thought there was no way. In this home, we were eternal, so hearing that you went on ahead so suddenly was something I couldn't believe. I baked your peach cobbler, prepared my iced coffee, and sat in my chair as I awaited your call. You hadn't left. Nothing had changed. That's what I told myself even after I saw the proof. There were no ashes, no funeral, nothing broken. There couldn't be. But deep down, I had known. I just hadn't accepted that you were more fleeting than a sunset, a spark never to rise or fall any more than once, because I hated thinking you were a setting light, as yours was one of the only ones bright enough to give my world color, to light my world as our sunsets did. But now, after so long, I realize the burning crimson of the setting sun is no longer a piece for me. It's still the same shade of red as that chair you bought, but similarly, it's something I no longer indulge in every day. I no longer keep everything the same since the day you left, from the stage of our home to my daily routine. I keep the curtains half drawn and the lights off. After all, Celine likes the ambience. And I prepared her favorite meal as it's a dish we both enjoy. The forgotten sweetness of a warm peach cobbler now replaced with a taste of an even sweeter apple pie. In terms of preferences, I say she takes after you. She now sits in that plush red chair with a juice pack in her hands, watching her favorite shows while unaware of the time. As the light gleaming through clear windows caused freer shadows to dance across my skin, I think my memories are no longer stained in a once familiar vibrant shade. Now, this soft shell of a home is a haven of what is extant, what is memorable. Because at this time, I keep nothing still. I keep everything in motion as lively as you'd want them. I leave a few traces of dust and wear past its prime, as nothing would stay the same when you have a toddler running about. And this is especially true for that old phone of mine. It no longer sits on the coffee table off to the side, now gone and out of reach like the hands I used to hold. The battery had died long ago, but I no longer keep it in that place, awaiting a call that'll never come. I no longer stare at my reflection mirrored in its blackened screen, as I know no longer look as dead as it is. Now my eyes are long since hopeful. Rebecca will call at every sunset as she hops on the train heading home. She tells me about her day and how glad she is to be my friend. I often think about how grateful I am that she's always there to support me, giving me space when needed and helping me cope after I learned I was expecting Celine. She takes care of her when I can't and acts like a second mother to our treasure. Like me, maybe she hears the bubbles of her laughter and sees the remnants of your smile, finding hope with every glance. Like me, perhaps the feathered weight of her steadily growing older made this life much easier to live as she was, and her heart swelled like a loving balloon. I still know now that grief works in funny ways. It changes you and everything you know, providing a context too great to comprehend. I still think about what happened to you on the train that day. I remember how I mourned. I remember relearning what it's like to laugh and letting myself feel as I realized there was a way. In this home, we are ephemeral, so knowing that you went on ahead so suddenly was something I came to believe. I sometimes bake your favorite peach cobbler, prepare that iced coffee, and sit in my chair as I recall your voice. You are gone, and a lot has changed. Even when it hurts, that's what I have to tell myself to accept the passing of time. There are ashes, a eulogy, and some things still needing repair. That's the truth. And deep down, I still know, with every twist of the engagement ring I never quite got rid of, I know well. I now accept that you are more fleeting than a sunset, a spark never to rise or fall any more than once. You are a setting light, and as I grow older, I know I am too. Your light was one of the only ones bright enough to give my world color, to light my world as our sunsets did. But now, I see more than you. More lights like Celine and Rebecca, ones I was once blind to. And in the future, I'll want the setting sun to mean something to them. I'll want it to remind them of something they love and want to cherish every day. I'll want it to teach them the transient nature of this life and how important every little moment can be. I'll want them to find comfort in what they know and all that changes, whether it'll be the stage of their home to a daily routine, their favorite meal, or those they share it with. I'll want them to take a moment in a place they'll feel best, appreciating the sun as it slowly creeps beyond the horizon. I'll hope their memories flow freely in what'll be their favorite shade. In the future, I don't know what'll become of this home, but I hope it'll be a place in which the halls are full of color, of life. But time itself will never be still. Nothing will stay frozen, nor will anything remain as hoped. Dust will build as much as it's swept, and where will come to pass as we all reach past our prime. Be it a sunset, a phone, a love, or a life, the call of time will eventually come for what was, what is, and what'll be. And in the future, I hope when I see my last reflection mirrored back in a fading screen, I'll look as alive as I want to be, as fleeting and radiant as every spark is. I hope my eyes will look long since fulfilled. Perhaps in the future, Celine will call it every sunset, just like you did as she's heading home. Maybe she'll tell me about her day and the one she loves. Perhaps if I ever get sick sometime down the road, she'll visit me in the hospital, learning the same things as me. Maybe she'll hear the echoes of my laughter or see the remnants of my smile. Like me, perhaps she'll feel sad and worried. Like me, maybe this life will become a bit harder to live as she'll be. I'll always know that grief works in funny ways. It'll change you in everything you knew, know, and will come to know, providing a context we will all someday face. Some will refuse to believe it, while others will learn to accept it. Some will laugh to cope with the bitter reality, while others will carry on as they see the sweetness of life. Moving ahead will forever be the only way we can go, no matter how hard we fight. In this home, in these lives, we will be as we've always been, handling our truths in the ways we see fit. Some will go ahead, some will remain the same, and some will move on, taking each day as time inevitably passes. Someday we will all leave, and things will keep changing. I'll have to keep reminding myself that that's the nature of life. Many things will be left behind, as there are as many beginnings as there are ends. That's what life is, what love is. And deep down, I'll always know. You are a setting light, and so am I, and so they'll be. Radiant sparks that'll never rise or fall any more than once. But I've learned to find peace in this, because we are bright enough to give our world color, to light this world as our sunsets do. And there we go.
I'm taking a breath because I, I man, yeah, Paul. Yeah, Ashley, hearts. Kayla, that's just beautiful. Well, words just well put together. Again, everybody in this class, outstanding writing. Again, and Janice said this, that first person was real powerful in the story. I want them to blah, blah, blah. I want them to blah, blah, blah. Like me, like me. I mean, the repetitiveness of that really echoed the same thing from Ashley's story in reference to it made you really pay attention, right? And then you said some words, wicked shadows danced across my skin. I hated that you were a setting light. And I think in the first parts of you sharing the story, we didn't see the second part, but it was very clear that you decided to let stuff move and let stuff come alive and let the sunlight, and you even changed it from cobbler to apple pie. Really cool visuals across the whole story. So, gone out of reach, like the hands I used to hold. I think that's what it said.
Yeah.
I mean, gone and out of reach, like the hands I used to hold. I mean, that's like desperation, and then at the same time, like, it's gone, just not coming back.
I actually took a lot from everyone in the class about what they wanted to convey with their own stories, and also Paul gave feedback when I was sharing it the first time about how it kind of sounded like poetry. So I decided that I was going to use the different tenses like past, present, and future to represent the time across the board.
Yeah, that was very evident in this iteration of the story. And cool. So comments from everybody.
So I have some. I liked how at the beginning she kind of compared herself, or the lady in the story, to the cell phone and how it's dead and hollow, but then she brings it back at the end and now it's no longer there and present. So I like the way that worked. And I liked how she kind of wove in like the grief works in funny ways, like throughout the story. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then also being a widow, like I have experienced that, right? When my husband first died, everything was still the same, clothes in their drawer, then years later, then like finally you slowly start moving stuff and you slowly see your world in color again. And then you have to realize that yes, this person was a big part of your life, but it's not the only thing that gives it color. And then you're enjoying the other people in your world, like your friends and your family and, your kid and stuff. So that can kind of, as a widow, I can relate to that.
That's powerful. Yeah, both of you guys could. I have a friend of mine who just lost her husband 2 days ago. to a really aggressive cancer. I mean, he was just like walking and everything was cool. And then it got to his brain and he became like a little kid, and then he became a vegetable, and then he died like in less than 4 months. So, you know, just you guys could probably talk to her, and her reading your story would probably give her love and light as well.
When
Other comments? Go ahead, Kayla.
I was gonna say, I personally have not lost anyone I'm too close to yet. But I know it's kind of like an inevitable thing, and I've had scares, friends with deep depression, and my grandma is currently recovering or going through cancer right now. So it's kind of like the anxiety of what I know that I might feel in the future was really what inspired me to write this.
Awesome. Inspiration comes from everything all over the world. There are every day you can look around and find a inspiration as a writer. I mean, you can pick up a pen, and just because you picked it up, the story could just start coming. Because everything could be a story. Any other comments? All right.
Yeah,
So
Kayla,
yeah, go ahead, Paul.
I was going to say real quick, great use of shadows, reflections on screens, and light, all tied in so well to kind of get us into those emotions that you're going through. So awesome work. Thanks.
All right. So tonight was all about you. It was all about like what you brought to the table, how we're going to take this and put it into that system that I shared last week. Ideas on how to make that happen. So between now and Thursday, what I'd like you to do is open up a Amazon account if you don't already have one. If you already are Amazon Prime user or anything like that, you're going to go to KDP Publishing and actually open up the book side of that so that you can upload your files and things of that nature. I'm going to put some of the other pieces together and then send it to you. And then you put yours in front because I want you to process it with me. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk through the process step by step by step. I'm going to do it. You're going to do it. I'm going to do it. You're going to do it. I'm going to do it. You're going to do it. So what are you going to need? Again, you're going to need your bio done. You're going to need your description done. You're going to need to have, if you have an acknowledgement, like, if you want to acknowledge someone, that your intro, right? You got to write a quick little intro to the story. You can use the synopsis as that. That's fine. Again, these things are not required for any book. They're just part of what we're going to put together, right? I want to share with you, and I'll send this to you, the copyright statement. So let me get to that right quick. Okay, I think this is share this. So let me move that out the way. Get out the way. All right, so it's basically CSM stories from the Southern Maryland, and it's going to have this general copyright. All rights reserved. This book or any portion thereof may not be reproduced or used in any manner whatsoever without the express written permission of the family, except for the use of brief quotations for personal use. And it'll say for the students, except for and you can change out those little words. Then it will have the ISBN number that I will create for it. And it will be hardcover or it will be soft cover. We're going to go with the soft cover paperback, and it will be printed from Amazon and KDP. So you'll see that as part of it as well. So that will be already set up. It will be already formatted, because remember, formatting is separate from editing and all that kind of stuff. As far as what you should do as far as editing, if you have a first person that you can go to, fine. It's not required. I just want to show you the process. In the future, you already know you need to get it edited. You need to get it proofread. You need to go through those processes, right? We already went through all of that in the presentation that I did a couple of the over the last couple of weeks. All right, so right now, any questions? We're gonna do a quick Q&A. Anything that you feel we needed to cover that we haven't covered that you were waiting for? I want to make sure there's nothing that you feel that we didn't cover, because we're gonna get together Thursday and we're making the book.
And Thursday is our last class, is that right?
Okay, remember the first day, I owe you a couple of hours, right? Because we had to switch those. It'll be up to you guys. You can decide tonight if you already know it. I want to still, add that time. So what I was thinking is just we would augment the time, and we can choose next Tuesday to do that other hour and a half. And I'll use that for marketing only, just to talk about marketing. So that you don't miss any time, but I wanted to make sure that we didn't miss any time. But it's up to you. How many feel that all of what we've gone through, we're good to go for this Thursday? Or would be, let's take a vote. How many think that we're good to go for Thursday? And we don't need to add that extra hour and change. All right, so I got 3 hands, so I'm gonna go with that. Anybody else who's not voted either way, just get back to me and let me know personally, and I will still make sure that you have it. So what I'm gonna offer to everybody in this class is 1 hour of one-on-one service for no cost or anything. You just let me know and we'll go over your project, your personal project, and I will work with you for that hour. So you won't miss that hour at all. Everybody cool with that? So that hour is worth $250 an hour. I'm giving it I discounted to all my students for $150 an hour, but you pay $0. There's no extra cost. You get a full hour, one-on-one, all content, whatever you need, no matter when. If it's not this week and it's a month from now, just connect with me and be like, hey, Dwayne, I need that hour. Let's do it. Everybody cool with that? All right, and then we'll wrap up Thursday and you still got an hour in the bank to use whenever you decide. Cool? All right, well, everyone, thank you again. Excellent, excellent job. I can't say it enough. I'm really proud of everything that you've presented here tonight. And I can't wait to tell Shonda what this class has done. Because what I want them to do is give me a room on the campus, and I want to invite the campus to come to a reading or some kind of author's spotlight or something. I don't know what it's going to be called. And I'm going to make this real for you guys to be able to share a story on that stage, whether it's a small stage or big stage. They're going to give me something on the campus, and I want to bring you to the campus and make that happen. So that's my goal. Whether it's a month from now or 2 months from now, whatever, I'm working on making that happen. How many okay with that? Excellent. All right, I got full participation. Kayla, I can't see your face, so did you give a thumbs up on that? You can unmute and just tell me you good.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, I'm gonna put something together. I don't know what it's gonna be called or what it's gonna be, but it's gonna be like a reflection of what we produce here in Southern Maryland through this workshop. And I'm gonna invite other speakers like Amanda and some of the other people, Asha, Fields. People have already gone through it. I'm gonna put something together and invite everybody. Okay. All right. And I'll make sure that you can sell your own book at the back of the table. So if you have something published by then, you'll have something to sell. So we're going to, if they tell me I can't do it on the campus because of the sales and all that, then we're going to find another location and make it happen. Okay. That's my gift to you. All right. It will happen. God willing, and the creek don't rise, as my friend used to say. Have a good night, everybody. We'll see.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
night.
Bye.
All right.
Everyone.